Okay, before we start this 90-day volunteer recruiting challenge tomorrow, I wanted to give you a little bit of context. Okay, in my last video, I told you a little bit about myself and why I'm doing this. And today I want to give you a little bit of the context of the church that I'm working at, where I'll be doing this 90-day challenge, trying to recruit 50 volunteers in the next 90 days. So to give you a little bit of background, almost exactly 2 years ago, I was the children's pastor at Mariners Church in Southern California. And we sensed an opportunity and a calling to come home to Georgia, where my parents lived. My mom has been fighting cancer for several years, and we thought it was the right time to be home and be close to home. And so I quit my job at Mariners, my dream job, and without a ministry job to move towards. First time in almost 25 years. And I stepped into a role at Slingshot, where I help churches hire staff and coach. And I've been doing work also with Nick Blevins and Ministry Boost and coaching ministry leaders. And it's been fantastic. And when we moved here, we found this church called The Ridge, and it's fantastic. It's a great church where our kids could connect, and they connected in small groups, and going to camp and getting involved in ministry, and it's been fantastic. After a few months, I started volunteering. I signed up to volunteer, and the children's director here was very gracious to me and allowed me to step back in as a volunteer, and I loved it. It was so great to be back and so great to be volunteering. Just a few months later, this was almost a year ago in October, the kids director resigned and moved to South Florida for her husband's job. And the church knew my background, and so they invited me to help. And so I stepped into an interim kids director role where I would work 15 hours a week just helping to run the ministry. And let's fast forward 6 months, and they invited me to step into the next gen role, and I said yes. So here I am, still doing Slingshot and working full time as a next gen pastor at The Ridge. So The Ridge is located in beautiful Blue Ridge, Georgia, which is an interesting location. It's beautiful. It's a vacation destination. People come up from Florida during the summer and during the fall and different times of the year to enjoy the mountains, enjoy the lakes, enjoy the cooler weather. And so we get a fair amount of visitors and people who own homes here and visit vacation homes. It's also a large retirement community. We have a much older population who have retired over the years from Atlanta and from other parts of the South to live here. And really since COVID, we've had a lot of families moving out of some of the bigger cities like Atlanta, which is only 2 hours away, and working remote from Blue Ridge and Blairsville and some of the other cities around here. So The Ridge is a church of maybe about 1,000 people on any given Sunday. We run 3 services, 8 o'clock and 9:30 and 11:15. Our 8 o'clock service is very small. We only run 4 or 5 kids in our early childhood department. And we have 2 full services at 9:30 and 11:15. But altogether, we utilize about 30 to 35 volunteers every Sunday. We have a total volunteer roster of about 50 to 60 volunteers who serve consistently. And we have a bunch of subs. We'll get into this later, specifically the numbers. I'll kind of talk through what we're doing. And so this is by no means a mega church or a massive church, but it's not a small church either. So in my goal to recruit 50 volunteers means that we're going to essentially almost double our volunteer count as we move into our new space. We are building a new hallway, essentially doubling, a little bit more than doubling our Kidman space on the weekends, but it's also allowing us to move into a true large group, small group environment where we have a large group theater for both elementary and early childhood. We're adding some extra rooms like a volunteer space, a special needs space, a nursing mom's room, and some other spaces like that. So that's a little bit of our context. That's what we're building towards, because 50 volunteers is subjective depending on how big your church is. That gives a little bit of detail. We probably run, 12 to 15% of our total attendance on Sunday is kids. It's an older population. It's an older congregation. So that's a little bit of what we're working with. There's a lot of untapped potential. There's a lot of people who attend our church who do not serve on a regular basis. And so that's the context. So join me as we begin this journey starting tomorrow of trying to recruit 50 new volunteers in the next 90 days.